So I'm Holly Flack and I work for the British Farriers and Blacksmith Association.
I am Martha Jones and I work for the American Farriers Association.
You know, the very essence of the mental game is this. The only reason an event matters is because we make it matter.
Welcome to the Mullins Farrier Podcast.
I had a soccer coach and he always said, we are going to be the fittest team always out there. Because in the moment, you don't want to be worried about being tired. You want to be focused on the soccer game.
Right.
Which is what's going to translate for me, hopefully, in the CJF, is that I'm not worried about being tired. I can focus on the task at hand.
And granted, he was like, get your specimens made. 3 months before you take your exam, get all your AW specimens made. And it's good to have other people putting that pressure on you as well. Sometimes if it's a single journey, and you've not got mentors that are coaching you, helping you, you kind of rest a little bit.
At some point, take a moment and just take a few steps back away from your toolbox, away from where everybody's got their tools at, and it's carnage and the go. Like, just take a step back and just look. That's what it's all about.
I went to Mount Mowbray, the Army School. It's been around for years. I can still remember walking through the doors the first day. It's this big forge with a big oak block wooden floor, 7 fires, anvils, and everything else. It's a fantastic facility. And I remember walking in there thinking, wow, this is where I want to be.
I like it. I think it keeps you every day, keeps my standards a bit better, keeps me trying to keep on top of stuff all the time. And I enjoy it as well, You come to these things and you chat about horseshoeing to folk and what you're doing at home, and you talk about horses you're shoeing and problems you have, and it's not just the actual competing, it's such a great source of education on lots of different levels.
Most people that I know in this industry only want the best for the other people in the industry, which is a pretty cool thing.
Welcome, everyone. Today's episode comes out on the eve of the AFA convention in Chattanooga, Tennessee. It is a PSA of sorts and will be available to paid and unpaid members of the podcast. I've had this thought for years that people don't appreciate or aren't aware of how much goes on behind the scenes of their associations to make these important entities run as smoothly and efficiently as they do. The two women in this interview play one of the most important roles in that system, but ironically, they are so effective at their jobs that we barely think of them. I separately asked both Martha of the American Farriers Association and Holly of the British Farriers and Blacksmiths Association a few years ago to do an interview to help their members understand what it is they do and who they are. They both politely brushed me off, but to be fair, I asked them in the midst of their busiest time of year during their respective conventions. Eventually, though, they made me a counteroffer, an interview with both of them together. It was a brilliant idea. So, as Focus was winding down this year, we sat down amidst all of the controlled chaos of the event teardown and had this chat. All of the competition shoes were in the same room as us, so you will hear them clinking away as Jed Hallam and his team of scorekeepers inventoried and put them away. Thanks to my hosts at the BFBA, I had the opportunity to do so many fantastic interviews at Focus this year. You will hear those in the coming months. My face hurt the most from laughing at this one, though. The bond between Martha and Holly is clearly strong and reflective of the bond between the AFA and the BFBA, which has benefited all of their respective members and the trade as a whole. So, if you're at convention this year and see either of these two incredible women, please thank them for all that they do for us. Or call or email them to do the same. Just not in the week leading up to convention or Focus. They're a bit busy then. I hope you enjoy this conversation as much as I did.
The reason I wanted to have you both on here, I was trying to do it separately, but then you came up with an even better idea, do it together.
Yeah.
I don't think the farrier world knows how much goes on behind the scenes. I've witnessed it from both of you and how much you there's no way you get paid enough for what you put up with. And
I'm glad this is being recorded.
She said that. I didn't say that.
But I don't think they realize how much dedication and extra work and hours beyond probably what is a normal work week you will put in to make an event like this happen, but also just the association itself run as smoothly as they do. So I think I don't know how best to approach this. We'll get one of you to start, but just what are some of the things that you have to do, the many hats that you wear in an average day, and then to put on an event like this?
Yeah. So it just starts straight after the next event. So like Monday morning, tomorrow. Is that tomorrow?
It's tomorrow.
Is that
It's
tomorrow?
tomorrow, yeah.
It starts tomorrow, planning for the next year. So, we go through all our notes, making sure we picked up all the things. Okay, they wanted this, wanted that, wanted that. And then it just starts already. So it's a 4 year long process.
Just for the event.
Just for the event. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and it's all the teeny little niggly bits, the tiny stuff like, have you got enough bottles of water for the competitors? Just tiny things that you don't forget, but could forget.
It could be forgotten.
It could be forgotten. It's all the small things, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
It's easy to think
this
of.
meeting or that meeting or, in your case, having Farrier Focus, like your members only area. And there's so many, and I found it, this is my first time here at the Farrier Focus. And I found that it's so similar because like them, we have at convention meetings and we have competition and we have certification opportunities and we have lectures. And so with all those moving parts, I just feel like, it's so hard. It's just the wheel.
Yeah.
But some of the best advice I've ever been given, actually, Brian, you probably know, I know Holly won't know, but by Philip Box used to be our convention chair.
Okay. Yeah.
And he said, once it's rolling down the hill. Like you just once we get here, the event it's rolling and it's going to roll down the hill. It's going to be fine.
Every Friday before the event, people are hydrogen. I'm like, great, because there's nothing else I can do about it.
Right.
It's going to happen.
At this point,
like we're
rolling.
here.
We're going.
If you asked me 2 weeks ago, my head might have fallen off. But now it's Friday and I'm like, it's happening tomorrow. Those doors are opening and people are coming in and it is what it is. But yeah.
But Dan, to back to your original question though, and like Holly said, it is a year-long plan. And in fact, we oftentimes book our sites for the AFA convention 2 and 3 years in advance.
Right.
So we have to look that far ahead, but it is a year-long process. And then on top of that, the other hats we wear are running an association and the programs of the association and membership and all of the things that go into that.
Yeah.
And it's a lot.
Yeah.
And Holly and I share a lot of hats.
Oh, yeah. We got a lot of stories between us.
I was going to say, I bet you have a support group together now.
Oh, totally.
Yes.
We like long lost sisters. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Our emails,
way before we even met in person.
Yes, it
at
was
the summit.
before we even met. Yeah. And then when I finally met her in person,
I was so excited.
And we were at Summit.
We were.
And I just gave her this big hug because I just felt like she was my long lost friend.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and you both are typically the voice when people contact the associations. You deal with them first. You might be directing them in a different to somebody else, but so now, is it a Monday to Friday job, or is that what you attempt to do? What does it look like?
Yeah, so for me, I'm Monday to Thursday, but it could be all hours sometimes.
And I
could be all in any hours.
Leading up to an event like this.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I don't even know what days of the week I work when it's leading up to an event like this. But anyway, that's great. But yeah, you get all sorts of different requests from members, non-members, and just the most important thing is that you really listen and understand what they need and who you need to point them in direction of, whether you can deal with their query or whether you're like, no, this is a bigger picture and I need to find, one of the executive committee to help them, or whether it's beyond that, like it maybe they need help from a solicitor, or whether it be mental health they need, or
you'll get those kind of calls too?
Yeah, no, we totally get those calls for mental health. So it's just knowing the right people to put them in contact with. So
that's an important subject for me.
Yeah.
So who do you direct them to?
So we have a couple of different places. So the Racing Welfare have been really kind that they have said that we can use their support line. They have a 24-hour support line. It's not just for people in the racing industry.
Oh, okay.
They said that, we can use that for all farriers. We just give out their number, and they've been really, really amazing at being there 24 hours a day, and then they will support you with further counselling, things like that, and point you in the right direction. So yeah, they've been pretty amazing. And then also, if people are in need, we always go to the Farriers Foundation, point people to the Farriers Foundation. So they obviously huge part of our community.
Okay. And how about on the American side?
So on our side, it's a little different. I actually play counselor
Do you? Okay. Yeah. One of the many hats.
You know, that's one of those hats really that I think maybe would be surprising to people is how often farriers do call, particularly farriers that know you and they're calling maybe about something else. And then in the States, they're driving between stops and they've got a lot on their mind.
Yeah.
And you're just their person that they feel comfortable talking to. So I do that. If it's more serious, what I have done is try to connect them quickly with a farrier in our leadership in their home area.
Okay.
Yeah. So for maybe better local resources.
Right.
But particularly try to connect them with, we're very fortunate at the AFA. We have a wonderful board of directors that I rely on very, very heavily. And yeah, so they would be my first point of contact in that case.
Okay. I sort of sidetracked you there. Now, what does your work week look like, Martha?
So, every week is different. Of course, I am Monday through Friday. I also do try when I can to attend chapter events on the weekend.
Wow.
Yeah. So this past year, I haven't done as much traveling, but I would say I was traveling at least once a month to a chapter event for a while.
Well,
and
there's pretty much something every weekend, isn't there?
There's something literally every weekend. Yeah. Next weekend, I'll be at the TPFA contest. Of course, that's now my home state, but I have made it out to every region as far as the Lee Greens clinic out in California and then all the way over to the East Coast. So I do try to get out. And then since we have a lot of committees and since our folks are, of course, volunteers, their best time of day to have meetings is the evenings. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not a, it's
9 to 5 is
it's not a 9. Yeah. It's
No, we have a lot of evening meetings. Yeah.
Right.
So,
But it fits well. It works well, and it fits. And
It's what's best for the members.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, another thing for people to have insight where you came from. So how did you end up working for the association and what was your background? What did you do before?
Yeah, me go.
You go.
Go for it.
My story's pretty easy, actually. So I actually spent this, I'm almost, I don't want to date myself, Brian, but I've spent almost 20 years.
Don't do it.
A number of years.
Okay.
In an unspecified number of years.
With it.
Brian, stop.
Give or take.
You are going to be on those posters. I'm telling you.
Don't be on the post-it.
Yeah, you don't want to be on a post-it.
Okay.
No. Yeah, you don't want to come unstuck on a post-it, that's for sure. Anyway.
You can ask us about that.
Well, that'll be next.
So I have been in association management before the AFA.
Okay.
So I spent the bulk of my career in association management. I was executive vice president of a commercial industrial contractors association.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And then I spent some time with a residential contractors group. And then when I was there, this is a job that popped up on LinkedIn. And I don't know if you're familiar, but every once in a while you'll get an email from LinkedIn. We found a job you might be interested in, even if you're not like out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Or even if it's nothing that you normally would look at. Yeah.
Right.
It's like,
And so this came up, and in association management world, like for people with a career path like mine, your career progression is you want to, if you're at a state organization, then a regional organization, and then a nationwide organization. So when I saw this pop up, I was raised around horses. I knew, who and what farriers are.
Yeah.
And
it's helpful. It's helpful.
Yeah, it's helpful. Yeah. And so even though I was not looking at that time, I thought, I'm going to throw my name in the hat for that. And at the time, Travis Burns was the president of the AFA.
Right.
And so there was an extensive interview process. You might surprise you. They did a great job, but because I was remote and they're spread out all over the country, we had multiple.
You're like reviewing them. Like, you did a good job, guys, interviewing me. I like that.
They really did.
Yeah. I like the way you set this up. I approve of you guys.
I was like, okay, they really got it together. But anyway, so that was a good process. And I think Travis told me, and I hope he doesn't listen to this because I might be remembering wrong, but they actually had I think 80 some odd candidates.
Oh,
that's so cool.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, wait, really?
Go you.
I was like, really? So, but anyway, it was a lot of fun. And so I started in July of 19. So I've been here a long time already. Yeah. Anyway, that's my path. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So what was your path?
Tell
me.
So definitely not as exciting. I wasn't looking for another job. I was helping my mum run a livery yard, and that's kind of where it came about. I'd done some bits and pieces of sort of secretarial work before, but not too much. I'd done pub managing before running livery yards, so I did pub managing for about 5 years, and then ended up just helping my mum run a livery yard sort of near where we lived, and my farrier was on the committee at the time. And he was like, oh, there's this part-time job going at the association. I was like, hey, that sounds quite good. Yeah. So I applied and did the same, went for an interview, and it was really good, really scary, because it was like this great big room with all these pictures of past presidents. And I was like, I was in the boardroom. And I walked in and they're all sat there all officially. I was like, this is how official. Oh my God, my hands
we weren't that official. We were not that official.
So I was like, okay. So, and then here we are, and that was 2017. And then, shortly after I started, I just happened to find myself, the lady that was here, she left, and I happened to find myself on my own for quite a long time. So I was rattling around in that big old forge on my own for a good number of years.
Really? You were the only staff?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I was then the only member of staff for a long time, which I found was the best way to learn, because I had to learn the hard way.
And you didn't have anyone
to ask. Yeah. So, and obviously the committee is spread all across the country, and they were really supportive, but still they weren't in the office. So, but it was a great way to learn, because I just had to do it. So
you just had to figure out how to do it.
I'm actually quite grateful for that time, because it kind of meant that I really had to sort of learn the grains and everything about it. So it was really good. Yeah. So and then here we are. So 2017. Yeah, my first focus was 2017 in the fields at the top by the forge. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And this has grown quite a bit for like the stories I hear from what it started as.
Yeah. When was your first?
Just 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Right,
so the sheds, so the cattle sheds?
No, it was still this
here.
building, but the tent was on the other side where it all flooded out.
Oh, where it flooded. Yeah, cool.
And we got there the next day and all the toolboxes were sitting in water.
No. Yeah, it was pretty bad. Yeah. This is why we're on this side now.
Rain in England.
Yeah. Weird. Weird.
I mean, every day.
You haven't seen any rain, have you? No. No, it's not been like torrential. Not a month's worth in 2 days, no?
Yeah.
No, cool.
Yeah. I got here. Well, I got to this hotel and I was talking to Tom Peterson, who's on our American Ferries team. And he's like, Martha, it's rained every day. And I'm like, oh, I know. Yeah. What is happening?
Why are we in England?
Can't we host this somewhere else?
It's hot at home.
So when you came here, it was in this tent in a field, and it was just kind of in conjunction with the competition.
Yeah, it was really cool. You know, I have to say, it was cool having the competition in the center, right in the center with all the trade stands around the outside, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
So that was cool. And the guys love competing up at the forge, Stoney. You know,
right.
The history. They loved it.
They absolutely love it. And even now when they come over, they want to go and see the forge, you know, which is great, which is nice, because it's still there, you know, and it's still being used, you know. So there were trade stands, and they were all around, like dotted around, and little marquees all the way around the forge itself. And then we moved to the field across the way. And then that's when it started getting a little bit bigger, and it sort of started taking a bit of a different shape. And we had the competition still at the forge, but we had the gas forging in the middle of the trade stands. So then we kind of adapted it like that. Yeah. So kind of, it was a nice flow. It was really good. But then it just started getting bigger and bigger, and people wanted to go bigger stands. And it was like, okay, well, we need to look at something else. And then we moved to one of the buildings on site, which was like one of the old cattle sheds, which was like crazy. It was a huge step, and it was indoors, and it was lovely. It did leak quite a lot. We had a
water feature.
We had a water feature. Fancy.
We had a waterfall. Like, it was serious rain. You know, like, you know, one of those where you can't, like, I need an umbrella to go through. Yeah.
Oh, that's a big leak.
Oh, big leak. Big leak.
So what'd you do?
Just buckets out and carried on.
They're British.
Yeah, they just
totally.
They just roll with it.
Let's just have a cup of tea. It'll be fine. Like, come on. No, do you know what? Everyone was so grateful that we have such amazing members, traders, No one complained. Everyone was just like, okay, you didn't do this. It's not your fault. Let's just get on with it. Everyone got on with it.
Lovely.
They were just wonderful. Like, we can't have asked for better support from everyone. And then we were like, yeah, we're going to do it in there again. And then like, no, we're not going to use this hall anymore for exhibitions. You're going to have to go somewhere else. What? So it was like, what are we going to do? And then we ended up
in the much bigger hall. Did this exist?
It did exist, but it obviously came with a
hefty price tag.
Much bigger price tag. So it was a real gamble. And we just had to really try and work the numbers out and just make sure we could make it work for the long term and not just for 1 year and that it's going to keep going and going and going because we don't want to go back to a leaky shed because now we really like this nice hall.
Well, and that was something that I've always wondered, especially progressing from there. And I know with the American Farriers Association, you're booking them 2 years out.
Yeah.
You're putting a serious deposit down on the future.
Yes. Yeah.
Of something.
You absolutely are. Yeah.
Right.
Because
And
once
then
you sign it,
figuring out the dates that you're going to have the most people to come and that you're
keeping
not
everyone
conflicting
happy.
with everyone else.
Well, that doesn't happen.
No, but you could try.
Yeah,
You could try.
We try.
We try.
We really
but we
try.
know that it's not possible. Yeah.
Like we're making the big move now because of COVID. We moved to November.
Right. Yeah.
And then we had to move sites too because that city still in 2021 was not open for events.
Right.
So then we had to not only switch the time of year, but switch locations. Anyway, so we've been on that track. And now this year will be our last November one, and then we'll move back to March. And that's really because the members really spoke out. And again, going back to our board, they went out to their local regions and talked to people. They called chapter presidents in their regions, and people just overwhelmingly wanted to go back to March.
Right.
Yeah. That's
Well, which is really cool because then Focus and Convention
they're farther apart.
We're going to be further apart.
Yes.
That's nice.
That would be good.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Give us more prep time.
Yes.
So that will actually, you'll end up skipping a few months, right? Because you'll have a longer span in between.
Right. You know, I think people are like, oh, well, we're going to go a whole year. You know, it's going to be so long. It is long, but it's actually only like a couple months longer than it was, you know, like 3 or 4, you know, so it's really not this massive thing, but we don't have the infrastructure. For us, it's just not possible to have one in November and again in the very next March.
Yeah.
So it's just, you know, so we're going to try and work out some things, maybe potentially regional type events to
Just
still
to
do.
fill the block.
Yeah. You know, to try and bring people in. So we'll navigate those. But
Right. Back to this, taking this big step. How do you do that? Is this like a committee decision that you have to basically run by everybody? These are the numbers.
Yeah, totally.
Because you're going to have people who are risk averse
Mm-hmm.
versus let's do whatever. And
There's a lot of late night meetings, a lot of weekend meetings, and you know, looking at the figures and lots of meetings with the showground and just really looking at the logistics of everything. You know, just making sure that even silly things like making sure that the health and safety side of stuff with, you know, it's an unusual event to run for the showground. They're used to, you know, your regular, maybe your agricultural events, things like that.
you don't have fires under a tent.
No.
or indoors.
Or indoors, yeah.
Right,
Which is uniquely awful.
They don't normally have those sorts of events. So it's making sure that they fully understand the event you're trying to put on so that when you get there, they don't go, oh, no, you can't do that.
Yeah,
but everyone's waiting outside. There's like 1,000 people outside. They need to come in. No, you can't. So that's the most nerve-wracking bit is making sure that you've definitely crossed every T and dotted every I. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I think, you know, a big part of our job too is we're not decision makers, but we do have to bring as much information to
For them.
leadership to make an informed decision because they're not in this every day. Like it is our job to inform them, like here, before you make this decision, here's X, 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 X.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. We might have our own opinions on it, but we can, you know, we can just collect all of that stuff and deliver it so they can make the most.
And they're good. I mean, I mean, even though we're not decision makers, and I'm sure Holly has the same thing, they do ask.
Oh my God, they do listen.
They
100%.
absolutely want our opinion.
100%.
Yeah.
Well,
which
it'd be
is
silly
great.
not to.
Yeah.
Like you are fully immersed.
Yeah. But that event thing, that happens. So Reno, I about had a heart attack. I mean, I literally about had a heart attack. So the fire marshal had changed from when we signed the agreement with them. And so the fire marshal that approved our contest with the 20-pound cylinders Gone. They had a new one. And 6 weeks before Reno, the new one said, absolutely not. You're not doing that indoors. What? 6 weeks. I was like, literal panic, and then I'm all like throwing out like breach of contract and stuff, like anybody really cares, but I'm thinking that makes it so I'm going to throw that in there as often as I can with the site, because everybody's booked. Everybody's paid, registered, like steel is ordered, all of the things. And so fortunately in Reno, they actually did appreciate the breach of contract seriousness, but they had a wonderful convention centered team and they worked with us and we put together a little bit more elaborate health and safety plan. And of course, Reno also had fire personnel on site every day. But basically working with that team, we got this guy to agree. But holy moly. Yeah, they basically said your contest is off 6 weeks ahead of time. Oh. Yeah. Those are the behind the scenes things.
Right.
That you like people don't realize that it's like
I showed up and it was on.
It was on, yeah. Everything's happening.
Right. That's terrifying.
Oh, it was really.
It's terrifying. I have to say, my heart does go every time that we have a guy come to do the fire sign off. So on Thursday morning before they started the practice, he comes around and he's like, "Oh, I just need you for a minute. I don't want to be here. No. Please don't say anything bad." And he's really good. And he was really lovely. And we go through everything. These are things we'd like to improve on the next year, but it's still okay. But they really work. It's been a good team this year, and they really work with us. So
1 year, I remember we have our hands-on stations at the side of the competition hall that our pre-certification guys run. Yeah. So we have people that can sign up for one-on-one hands-on learning at these stations.
She's mentioned this before. He wants us to do it.
No, that's
Yeah.
So the fire personnel that we had, they were amazing. They wanted to get on an anvil. And so Lucas Gilliland was over there helping them learn how to build something. And they were so into it.
That's the way to win the round.
That's
the way to win the round. Yep. Thank you very much.
Got it.
Gotcha.
That's in your win column. Yeah. I'm like, keep up the good work, Lucas.
That story sort of leads into the topic of just managing people. And I know from experience that dealing with farriers, we're a special group.
You said it.
Those were your words, Brian, not ours.
Yeah, I can admit it because I am one. So coming from the background that you did, were there any major changes or is this a personality thing that you see everywhere? But so we are a different group. I'm not just because I'm immersed in it that I think
it's different. It's different. So at the Commercial Industrial Contractors Association, these guys are working for a contractor, or maybe they own a business. Some of them did own a business. But with farriers, essentially you're primarily self-employed unless you're in a multi-farrier practice. I think that brings a different level of individual,
Yep.
And so a lot of type A's. But the managing people is really, you're right, because you get all of these business owners and type A personalities, and you're trying to get them to collectively agree on anything or move in the same direction going forward. And it's not easy. I will say though, well before me, I do understand that some AFA board meetings would break out in fist fights and so forth.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Which I can't even imagine.
Stop it.
Oh yeah.
Stop
it. Yes. Yeah. Way before me. I think I don't know, maybe late 90s, maybe. I can't remember. But anyway, so the AFA board meetings are really structured with Robert's Rules of Orders dating back to that time. Now, I will say that since I've been here, there has been nothing even remotely close to that.
Right.
I've been very lucky with the leaders that we've had. But it is structured that way on purpose.
Well, and then you also, with the U.S., you have a huge geographical area to cover. Then you also have very disparate political beliefs and that all will play into that.
Yeah. And of course, and this is not unique to the U.S., but of course, we also have within our membership 18-year-olds all the way to, I think Walt might be 90, and so you also have this wide range of people and how they receive information and how they take things in and all of these things. One thing I love about connecting with Holly and these folks over here is hearing about how we have some of the same challenges. And so most recently, I was talking to Hugh Dyer yesterday, and he was talking about they have Forge and Forge Knowledge magazines, and we have No Foot, No Horse.
Right.
And and
which we share amongst our members.
And we do. Yeah, we share. Which is great knowledge sharing, but also it is a massive expense to print and mail those. And yours is every other month. Ours is every other month. You know, there was talk on their level, I understood, of going to a digital version because of the savings to the association, but they're not doing it. No. And of course, we will not be doing it because we have many, many members who want to get that in their mailbox.
Yeah, there's the tactile barriers.
Yeah, we put out a survey and we asked. Like,
and we like picture books.
Well, we were like, maybe people don't want it anymore. Maybe we're just doing it because nostalgia. And we really like Forge and we really like printing it, but it's too expensive. And we genuinely asked, and the consensus was most people are like, no, I want to read it.
I want it in my box.
Don't you take that away?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. How dare you?
One of the most exciting days of my week is when I find one of the magazines in my mailbox.
Yeah. But I think, you know, as these generations progress through, I think ultimately it'll change.
Right.
Because I do think, you know, your young folks now, they get all their content on their phone.
Right.
You know, that's just what they were born into. You know, and that's very, very different.
How are you going to condense No Foot, No Horse into a TikTok? That's the question.
I genuinely think we could do a TikTok. I think we should.
We should do a TikTok channel. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Now, both of you kind of came on just before COVID hit.
Yeah.
What had to change there for you to be able to reach your members and keep things going?
Yeah.
So there was, a lot of work involved. I don't know. How did you guys carry on? Did the fires carry on in COVID?
No. So first convention, clearly.
Right, that was you guys were ground zero.
Ground zero, so wild. So this is when convention was in March. And it was, I'll never forget, the dates were March 9 through 13 of 2020. So, I mean, when you're working an event like these, of that size and scope, you get really focused and you kind of forget about everything going on.
The outside world.
Because you're just focused on what you're doing here. But I remember one evening that week, this was my aha moment, like something's actually going on here, that I caught on the news that they had canceled the NCAA tournament. And I was like, whoa. Like there's actually something. But our members then, so midweek, we have to kind of pivot because we always had a buffet, a buffet dinner. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, you can't do that. We're going to bring staff in and they're going to put the food on the plates and hand them to one person at a time.
Right.
So it kind of changed grand finale. But then even still with that, we had people leaving early, particularly our international guests being afraid they were going to get stuck. There were some farrier wives asking them to come home. And then when we left, you drove out and it was a ghost town.
Yeah.
Which is a really...
You were probably like the last event happening.
Literally ours was the last event at that convention center until it was all done. They canceled the next one.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Like if we had been 1 week later, it would not have happened. So anyway, we did push that back. That was when we had our first 16 months between conventions. But then also our certification program, we actually we stopped all certifications April, May, and June, I think, and maybe into July. That's our busy certification time.
Yeah. And also an income source, right?
Yeah,
for the association.
Yes, it's a huge revenue source for us. And so that was really, really tough. It was the right thing to do, but it was really, really tough.
Right.
But then we started picking those back up. And of course, in the United States, I think most of our farriers, by and large, it had very little impact on their day to day.
Yeah.
Other than maybe they'd have to go to a barn and like be working in there by themselves or, the social distancing.
It was terrible. Everybody's day was a half an hour shorter because you didn't have to converse with clients.
Yeah, good. I'm sure you loved it. Yeah.
And traffic was great.
Yeah. So, other than those two big things, our staff, we did lean down because when you're not running certifications, you're not processing certifications, you're not, frankly, bringing in the number of members that program also brings in. Because in addition to the revenue from the exams itself, we have membership revenue that comes in from that. So we did lean down our staff just to be safe. We also set aside some money in a savings account, just not knowing what to expect. We were very fortunate that although our revenue certainly did drop, we were also able to really, really lower expenses. It was actually a good year. but we had to really immediately lean down.
Right. So normally how many people would be working behind the scenes?
So we're actually probably smaller than you might realize. At that time, we had only 3 full-time people.
Okay.
So then we went down to 2 because it just didn't make sense. And we shuffled some of that person's duties around. And then right now, we are at 3 full-time and 2 part-time. One of the part-time, it's really part-time, 1 day a week kind of bookkeeping.
Right. Okay. How about you? What was your COVID experience?
So we had to cancel Focus. It felt really dramatic, but obviously for obvious reasons. Yeah. It was sad. It was sad losing Focus. It was really sad. Yeah.
Our team was sad to not come over.
Just what's happening? This happens every year. We can't not do Focus. So when we started again, it was the first year back in the leaky shed. Yeah. So it was just pretty much locked down for a whole year. So we spent a lot of time just trying to support our members. A lot of the guys sort of rallied around, helped put like a traffic light system together alongside the FRC and sort of like a coded system when to go to a client, when not to go to a client, because at the time it was locked down temporarily completely, and then it was guided back in where fires could go out, what was an emergency, what was a non-emergency, what was a must-have, what wasn't a must-have, and just some guidance on biosecurity basically, how to deal with things, how to deal with life as it was, which was not just their everyday day-to-day job, just life. I think at the time I still continued to come into work because at the time, I'm pretty sure it was only me and we had 1 part-time staff, which she's still with us, who does our part-time bookkeeping. She comes in 1 day a week. So I just work from home. The day she went to the office, I work from home.
Right.
Yeah. And there were just 2 of us. We did the same. We divvied up. Yeah.
Yeah. So and then the rest of the time, I just came to the office. It didn't seem quiet for me because that's what I was used to. Just the roads were very quiet. So the work continued, much the same because Paris were able to carry on working. There was still plenty for us to do.
So I guess I'm cognizant of your time. I know there's probably a bunch of stuff still waiting for you, even though you're done. Air quotes. What's next on the horizon for both associations and for you?
Well, I was going to say, definitely Focus. We're just going to try and push it bigger and better every year. We've tried a new little thing this year with the breakout room, having some areas where there's more speakers. And we've had some great feedback about how it's really nice to have so much going on, because we were a bit worried that people are going to feel like they're missing out, but actually they really like that they can dip into here and dip into there and do a bit of this and do a bit of that. So I think we're going to try and continue that and keep pushing, maybe advertise it a bit better and just hopefully just grow numbers and hopefully get more support keep growing our membership numbers. And what's really nice and what's really exciting is that we're going over to convention in November.
Yay!
So excited about that. I can't believe Martha and Hank and everyone are here this year. It's just been the best Focus ever. It really has.
She's just saying that because it's over.
No, genuinely has. I've been giddy about it for months.
Yeah. I can't wait. Yeah.
And I'm so excited to be coming to a convention in November, and I just hope that continues. And it's just really lovely that the relationship that we've got, not just me and Martha, that's wonderful, but just the associations together, AFA and BFBA, the relationships just got stronger and stronger, and it's just wonderful to be able to help and support each other. And there's just nothing but love there for the association. So it's great. Yeah, it's really cool.
I feel like you should probably end on that because that's really good. But soundbite. But just to kind of tack onto that, I think that is absolutely how we feel that the decades upon decades of history between the BFBA and the AFA are just of utmost importance to us. And all of the lives that have been changed through it, the connecting the countries. I mean, I just think that it's not replaceable. And I think that under Hank's leadership, it's really only grown. That's been a big mission of his to continue fostering that. And like I said, cultural exchange folks. And
we've had some great interviews. We've had some exchange candidates interviewed this weekend. So
from the US to come here?
No, from the UK. Yeah. So they had interviews yesterday. So two really
with
Vern and Craig and Phoebe. And it looks really good. And also I had 2 guys come up to me and be like, where do I put my name down?
That's great.
So it's really cool.
That's really great.
Yeah.
And on the US side, we've been very fortunate the last couple of years to have our exchange participants also have large social media followings. So if you knew some of the people, and they were regularly posting these incredible experiences. And so we've seen a big uptick in interest in that program as well. Yeah. So that's been great. But yeah, coming up, convention, getting ready to roll into that time of the year when I really strongly urge people not to call me. Yeah. I'm like, oh, no, remember, call at your own risk.
There is a warning. You can't say you haven't been warned.
But I'm really excited. I'm really excited this year. I think Chattanooga is going to be great. Obviously, Holly and Abby and Ben Benson, they're all going to be in attendance. And so that's going to be phenomenal for us.
British invasion?
A little bit, yeah.
We're going to bring the tea and the tea cake.
But our trade show this year is massive. This really blows my mind, like how many exhibitors we're going to have in there. Our competitors are way, way up for us, for our size and where they've been over the last, since I've started. So we're going to be rolling into Chattanooga with over 100 competitors this year, which is great for us. We're excited about that. Our pre-registration numbers are phenomenal. So and I should say, I'm going to go ahead and say it because I know this won't be probably published until after Chattanooga, but
I was thinking I probably should publish it before. So keep that in mind.
All right. So, one of the big things that's been happening in my world this week while I've been here is our hotel sold out, which is
right.
Everybody's like, oh, good problem to have, cheers. And I'm like, yeah, not really.
I was on the other side of that. I did sneak my way in.
Okay. So you see, so now we do have overflow hotel opportunities, but now we're scrambling to get those together because we got to get those out to our members because we've got people calling and they don't know where to go now. So again, it is in fact great. It's less great because it's very, very
It's a nice
stressful.
problem to have, but a logistical nightmare.
A nightmare. Yeah. So especially when I'm here and the time difference, I'm like, So no, but
Why this week? Why this week?
Why?
One week? I'm not in the country. Like, what the hell?
I know.
Yeah.
It's Murphy's Law. It's Murphy's Law. It's no different than you all go to an event and a client throws a shoe.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's not
Gets
different.
a new horse that needs to be done instantly.
Yeah. Or they have a show or what have you. Like it's not different. As soon as you go away, it's going to hit the fan.
Did you, just by any chance, did you find out on a Wednesday?
Did find out on a Wednesday. Wednesdays are.
Yeah.
In the association world. Yeah. We commiserate on Wednesdays.
Are not the good day.
Yeah, it's not a good day.
And so we call it Wednesdays, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we're emailing, that's the first thing we say. Are you having Wednesday?
Yeah.
Man, I like how you guys are blanking yourselves out.
Yeah. We just, you're having a Wednesday.
Well, before I let you go, I should ask, what is the Post-it note story?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's tied in with the Wednesdays, I'm telling you.
Okay.
Really tied in
with the Wednesdays.
So do you want to take this one?
Yeah, well, I don't know if we should share our secret, really, but do we? I don't know.
We can share a little bit.
Yeah, like shutters are involved and wind and things like that. And
cool breeze. Yeah.
Sometimes a big breeze.
So we make a joke about sometimes technology, sometimes in the association world, it's not our friend. And we both do have membership databases. Sometimes they're a little clunky and sometimes they're just don't do what we want them to do and we don't. So we have this running joke that we keep our members on Post-its.
Yeah. And sometimes if we're having a Wednesday, the Post-its might want to go in the shredder.
So we always ask, are all your Post-its hanging in there?
Right. Okay.
Has a hurricane been through for you today?
We love all of our members.
All of them.
We love all of them equally. Equally.
Yeah.
But so
Sometimes love hurts.
Sometimes
it's tough love.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I will make it my goal not to be taken away in the hurricane.
No. You don't want to end up on one of those Post-its.
You don't want to be, you don't want your Post-it to lose its stickiness. That's another thing. Our
How
Post-its.
sticky is your Post-it note?
Yeah.
And that is what I'm going to start.
Soundbite.
I think we've been really good, actually. I think we've been very PC, so that's good.
PC.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I know it's been a busy weekend,
Yeah.
but I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
that you did.
This has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Really loved it.
Yes.
My face hurts now.
Yeah. Me too.